everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing Superman, Up, Up, and Away. Take a look at this comic cover right here. Now, Up, Up, and Away, God, that's such an annoying title. Up, Up, and Away is Superman's 1 year latest story. It is the first story arc we have with Superman after the Infinite Crisis, after the missing year. And much like Batman and Wonder Woman's 1 year latest story, is that this tries to rectify all the issues with Superman before the Infinite Crisis. Now, you gotta understand this, before the Infinite Crisis, a lot of the superheroes and teams were falling apart. But more so than anyone's were the Trinity. Batman was just paranoid of everyone, Wonder Woman was losing her touch with humanity, and Superman was falling in a downward spiral of crappiness, failing at about everything he did. So, the Trinity just weren't doing that well. They took a year off, got new clothes, freshened up, did their own thing, and came back. Well, kind of. Batman and Wonder Woman came back, but Superman didn't quite come back right away. See, Superman lost his powers during the Infinite Crisis, and it takes forever for them to come back. So Superman's absolutely powerless through about half the story. And the interesting thing is, Superman's cool with it. Superman enjoys being Clark Kent. See, one of the big problems about Superman before the Infinite Crisis in his life was that Superman was Superman. He was doing everything and not being able to do everything perfectly. He had to go off and save that person. Well, I'm fucking up at the newspaper. Oh, I gotta save that person. Well, my marriage is falling apart. Oh, I gotta save that person. Wow. It's just like everything was going wrong with him because he had to do everything. And it was just tearing Superman apart. However, without his powers, Superman arguably had the best year of his life. Because as Clark Kent, he got to focus on all the personal things he couldn't do when he was a superhero. He became a better reporter, was on the good side of Perry White. Perry was so happy with him. He was like, oh, my golden boy has returned. Got Clark Kent back, and he was just doing fantastic. And him and Lois Lane were doing better than they ever done before. Lois is absolutely in love with the fact that she has Clark Kent all to herself. She doesn't have to worry about Superman flying off doing whatever, taking a shit in the air on some villain, or having him die randomly because, well, he's a superhero. She gets Clark Kent to herself, and their relationship, their marriage, grows because of it. And you just really get to see Superman personally, as Clark Kent, that part of his life just flourished during this missing year. However, well, we can't have that. No. Superman needs to return. See, well, first of all, is we do have a few elements at play here. Lex Luthor returns. He's been cleared of all charges against him that was done during the missing year and before the Infinite Crisis. However, his personal image has been tarnished. He's been kicked out of LexCorp, so he's kind of doing the mad scientist thing. And let me just say, a lot of people criticize the whole purple and green Lex Luthor, mad scientist, evil criminal mastermind thing, and prefer the evil businessman thing more. I like the evil businessman, don't get me wrong, but the scientist, criminal Lex Luthor, I'm proud and happy that it's back. Because we've had the businessman Lex Luthor since 1985. Let's go back and do a little bit, of the criminal mastermind, evil scientist Lex Luthor. And I think it's good. I think it's great. I think it brings a new aspect to Lex. Or rather, an old aspect in a new light. Because, well, Lex was originally evil criminal mastermind. But let's not go into the past. Let's only talk about the present and future. So Lex is back, and he's no longer part of LexCorp, and he's doing the evil scientist thing. He stumbles upon some Kryptonian artifact, and he finds out that it's actually a ship used by one of the Zods. I think it was Dru-Zod. It wasn't General Zod. I think it was Admiral Dru-Zod. Anyways, this was a fucking big ship. This puts the Nemesis from Megatron's ship to shame, because this ship was fucking huge. It was probably the flagship of the Kryptonian fleet. And with Superman not around, Lex Luthor wants to take this advantage and, well, gain power. See, Lex has the perception that, well, Metropolis betrayed him. Even when he was evil and corrupt and businessman, everyone pretty much loved him in Metropolis because he had that false image. It was really only Superman he had problems with. But now all of Metropolis hates him, so yeah, that's going to cause some trouble, and he wants to make him pay. In addition to that, Clark Kent, as Clark Kent, powerless, is pissing off Intergang. Okay, I know he's Superman, but really, when you don't have powers, don't piss off Intergang. So Intergang's sending all these various villains out to kind of kill Clark Kent. Now, it happens to be during one of these attacks that Superman starts to regain his powers, slowly but surely. And, you know, it starts with the invulnerability and the super strength and the ability to leap buildings and all that stuff. But eventually his powers come back and they're better. He can hear better, see better, his memory's faster. No negative side effects. Superman is essentially becoming super-er. I know, bad grammar. But anyways, the case is that Superman's becoming more powerful. So the showdown has been set. It's Lex Luthor versus Superman. Lex with his Kryptonian weapon, and Superman with, well, what he's always had, his fist. In addition to that, we also see a lot of character development through many of the supporting characters. And I'm going to talk about that now, in the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Let's talk about the good. Character development. Let's talk about Lex and Lois in particular. Because out of all the characters, I think they're the ones that shine the most in this story. Not to say Superman didn't shine, but they're the ones that definitely shine the most. Let's start off with Lois. I really liked how Lois was portrayed here as really kind of a... She's someone here that doesn't want Superman to become Superman again. She's loving having her husband, and who wouldn't? Anyone who's in a loving relationship can agree with me. When you're with that special someone, the person that you love more than anything in the world, you want to keep them all to yourself. You want to be with them all the time. It's the truth. That's the case. I mean, a lot of people will be in relationships that say they love someone, but if they don't have those feelings, they really don't love them. But the fact of the matter remains is Lois is happy that she has Clark to herself. Their relationship is stupendous. And then his powers start coming back. Without spoiling too much for you, despite how much this upsets her, despite how much this hurts her, despite how much this makes her sad because she's not going to have those perfect days with Clark Kent anymore, she supports Superman 100%. That's why I think Lois and Clark Kent is the best comic book relationship when it comes down to romances. Because through thick and thin, they stay together. Look at New Krypton story arc going on right now. Superman kind of flies away, and not Wonder Woman, Lois Lane kind of just says, I understand, do what you need to do, I'll always be here for you. They're always supportive of each other, and you really get to see that with Lois here. And I really like that character dynamic really coming out here. In addition to that, Lex Luthor was portrayed just kind of cool. I don't know how to explain it. He was very nonchalant, very about everything. He was a little cocky, more confident than anything. And we really get to see this cool version of Lex. I like how Lex is now a criminal. That's my own personal opinion. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. But I like it, so I'm cool with it. I think it's necessary to make Lex a criminal. It makes him much more of a threatening villain rather than just sitting behind a desk sending a bunch of LexCorp, you know, employees with weaponries and battle suits. No, now we have Lex as dangerous with no strings attached. Nothing holding him back. So that aspect I like about Lex. I also like how this doesn't take a lot of time away from anything. This has a good balance of storytelling. You know, they deal with him without his powers and him getting his powers back, and then him with his powers at full. Deal with all the characters, their personalities, their emotions towards certain events in the story. I like how it just was well told. It didn't take too much time on one aspect of the story. It kind of balanced things out. The action was nice, and the art was nice, too. I have to say, with most of the Superman post-Infinite Crisis, after the Infinite Crisis, I really like the art in it, and, you know, the art is really nice in this. You also get to start to see the recurring theme of Lois Lane not wearing any pants at all when she's at home. You'll find this out in a lot of the other Superman comics. Well, Lois Lane just doesn't like wearing pants. She likes wearing panties and some kind of shirt. But yeah, I thought I'd just point that out because it's really weird. I mean, I don't see Lois Lane as that kind of person. But anyways, the art is nice. And that's, on a whole, it's a good balance of everything. Downside. I can't really think of too much downsides in this. I would have liked to have a little bit more character interaction with, say, Supergirl, or maybe a little bit more of Perry in there, maybe even Superman's parents. I can understand why they didn't, because it would just clutterfuck everything. You have too much characters in the story, it may just be too much. So, that's just more of a personal tripe than anything. But besides that, I feel as though this is a good story. When it comes down to comparing it to the other one-year later stories, Wonder Woman, who is Wonder Woman, and Batman face-to-face, I feel as though for the general public, this is probably the best. Obviously, if you're a Batman fan or a Wonder Woman fan, you're going to prefer those two over this one or over the other one. But for someone that's neither a Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman fan, you're probably going to like this one the most, or at least have it tied with Batman. I feel as though all the one-year later stories are pretty good. Yes, even Wonder Woman's. I know a lot of people didn't like it, but I liked it. So I still feel as though this is a good, well-balanced story, and definitely a great way to kick off Superman in the new 1 year later era, the current Superman stuff we have going now. This really got me excited for the stuff that I've been reading now, and I'm really enjoying the Superman stuff now. So this is a great way to kick off your current Superman reading from like 2006 on. So would I recommend picking it up? What do you think? Of course. Up, Up, and Away, good Superman story, definitely recommend it. With that said, this is Andrew saying peace out for now.